door still knows the way you stood by the window light, misunderstood. I trace the space you used to fill, like time forgot to stand still. Your laughter faded into walls, still echoes when the evening falls. We weren't broken, just undone, like sentences that lost their tongue. I didn't lose you all at once. You slowly changed the distance. This is the shape of us after goodbye. Corners of love we couldn't realign. Your absence learned my outline too. Now I'm someone I became without you. We don't hurt the way we did before, but we don't fit like we used to anymore. This is the shape of us after goodbye. Not broken, just redesigned. Your name still rests in quiet days, in songs I skip, in words I say. I don't reach out, but still I feel the habit of hurt. You'll still be real. We grew apart without a fight, just stopped reaching at the same time. Love didn't die, it just withdrew, left me learning how to move. I held on longer than I should, trying to keep us understood. This is the shape of us after goodbye. Softened edges, harder lines. I still remember how we were before the silence took the nerve. We don't ache the way we pulled before, but we don't belong like we used to anymore. This is the shape of us after goodbye. A love that changed but didn't lie. Some endings don't feel like the end, they just stop choosing we again. I forgive us for growing wrong, for staying quiet far too long. This is the shape of us after goodbye. A gentler truth I won't deny. You were a chapter, not my home, but you helped define my soul. I won't wish we stayed the same. Some love survives by letting change. This is the shape of us after goodbye. Still beautiful, just a different life. didn't vanish. We evolved into who we are when love dissolves. I memorized the sound of maybe, held on to words he never gave me. I stayed polite with all your doubt, called it patience, not burning out. I learned your silence by heart, treated distance like a start. I kept the door unlocked for hope, while you kept finding reasons not to cope. I kept believing time was kind, but it was only passing by. I waited longer than life should, stayed when leaving would have been good. I called it faith, I called it trust, but I was breaking quietly inside us. You didn't ask me to remain, I just mistook delay for pain. I waited longer than I should, and paid the price for being good. I smiled through every half reply, made excuses so you wouldn't try. I lowered needs, I raised my grace, shrank my voice to keep your place. Love became a careful thing, afraid of asking for anything. I was there in every way, but you were only almost staying. I thought endurance meant I cared, but love shouldn't need to be spared. I waited longer than life should, held on longer than anyone would. I turned my ache into belief, called uncertainty relief. You never told me not to stay, you just let tomorrow drift away. I waited longer than life should, and learned too late what love is not. There's a line between hope and delay, between choosing someone and being played. I crossed it thinking I was strong, but strength knows when it's been too long. I waited longer than life should, but I'm done waiting misunderstood. I won't confuse restraint with care, or call absence being there. If love returns, it won't ask me to bleed. It won't survive on what it needs. I waited longer than life should. Now I leave exactly when I should. Some lessons take their time, but freedom doesn't ask for mine. You left without slamming doors, no final words, no reason why. Your jacket still by the bedroom floor, like you'd be back before goodbye. I memorized the way you left, by how the room forgot your sound. Even the clock held its own breath when it realized you weren't around. I told myself you just needed time, but time never promised you were mine. I kept the light you turned off, stayed awake in case you came home lost. I learned the dark by heart, so you wouldn't have to find the switch. You moved on without a thought, left me loving what you forgot. I kept the light you turned off, like love was something I could fix. Your name still echoes in my phone, unread messages, unsent truth. I made excuses on my own for all the things you didn't do. I dressed the silence up as hope, cold waiting something brave. But every night I held a glow for a shadow that never stayed. I stayed loyal to what we were. You stayed silent, and that hurt worse. I kept the light you turned off, believed in you when you walked off. I made a home inside the dark, so you wouldn't feel alone. You found peace somewhere else, while I held the night by myself. I kept the light you turned off, until even hope went cold. Maybe love shouldn't beg to stay, or bleed just to be seen. Maybe letting go is learning that choosing me isn't selfish, it's clean. I kept the light you turned off, but I won't wait here anymore. I see now what it cost to love someone who closed the door. If you ever wonder why the room no longer knows your name, I turned the light off for myself and finally walked away. The dark doesn't scare me now. I'm not waiting anymore. You stopped asking how my day had been, just nodded like you already knew. Our words got smaller, thinner, love was scared of waking you. I learned the sound of empty space between your sighs and tired eyes. We were still sharing the same bed, but dreaming separate lives. You said nothing was wrong, but silence stayed too long. When love and you became quiet, I felt the distance in your touch. No fights, no tears to cry with, just less and less of us. You didn't leave, you just went still, like love forgot how to speak. When love and you became quiet, it started breaking me. I laughed louder to fill the room, hoped you'd notice something changed. I kept translating all your moves into reasons you might stay. Your phone lit up, your eyes looked down like I was interrupting peace. I was standing right beside you, but somehow begging to be seen. I miss the way you used to care before love turned into it taught me how to grieve. Maybe love shouldn't whisper just to survive, or fade so gently we call it time. If silence is all that love can be, then I'd rather hear myself breathe. just disappeared. I stayed when leaving made more sense. Watch the clock ignore my prayers. Your silence learned my name before I learned how not to care. Every promise lost its tone. Every kiss felt slightly gone. I smiled just to keep you near, while disappearing year by year. I let go in slow motion, frame by frame. I fell apart, still loving you out of habit, still breaking my own heart. I didn't leave, I faded, and I words you never quote. I let go in slow motion long before you noticed. Your jacket still behind the door, like you might need it once more. I stopped asking where you'd been, started guessing how this ends. I learned to miss you quietly, so you wouldn't feel the change. You were already halfway gone. I just stayed to take the blame. I let go in slow motion, held on longer than I should, still hoping you'd turn around, even when I knew you wouldn't. I didn't scream, I softened till love felt like a ghost. I let go in slow motion and carried it alone. If love is meant to save us, why didn't it cost me? I begged for something honest. You gave me almost free. I let go in slow motion. Now I see myself again. Not a villain, not a victim, just a heart that tried till the end. I don't hate you, I outgrew the way that you imposed. I let go in slow motion, and that's how I survived you. Some men without them and call it closure. Full of echoes from words we didn't say. I was counting every heartbeat. You were already away. Your eyes stopped listening, your hands let go of mine. I felt the ending coming, but pretended we had time. You left before the song ended, before the last refrain. I was still learning the melody. You were done with the pain. You didn't say you were leaving, you just stopped pretending. I kept singing for us. You left before the song ended. Your laugh became a memory, too soft to call back home. I replayed every moment, like it might change the tone. I loved you in the quiet parts, between the lines you missed. You heard an exit sign, I heard one final kiss. You left before the song ended, before it could resolve. I was still holding the harmony. You were already gone. You didn't break the silence, you let it do the damage. I kept singing for us. You left before the song ended. Maybe love isn't forever, maybe it's just a verse. You stopped believing in us, I believed it worse. You left before the song ended, but I sang it to the end. I stayed with every lyric, even when you didn't understand. Now the music feels different, but my heart's still open. I didn't lose my voice. You just left before the song ended. I stayed when the signs were clear. Read between what you wouldn't say. You were halfway out the door. I was finding reasons you might stay. Every warning felt like doubt. Every doubt I turned to hope. I held the pieces of your heart like they were mine to hold. You were slowly letting go. I was loving you more. I loved you past the point of return, past the lesson I should have learned. I crossed every line I swore I wouldn't, just to keep us from the burn. You stepped back without a word. I stayed until it hurt. I loved you past the point of return and lost myself first. I memorized your fading touch like it might come back again. You called it space, I called it trust, but we were standing at the end. Your silence felt rehearsed, mine was breaking underneath. You stopped choosing what we were, I stopped choosing me. I thought love meant staying strong, even when it stayed too long. I loved you past the point of return, past the truth I couldn't face. I kept rebuilding what was gone while you were leaving trace by trace. You never asked me to remain, I just refused to turn. I loved you past the point of return, and that's what made it burn. Maybe love is brave, but not when it erases you. Maybe holding on isn't always proof. I loved you past the point of return, but I won't love that way again. Not where I disappear just to make somebody stay. You were a chapter, not my end, a fire I survived. I loved you past the point of return. Now I'm finally on my side. Some loves don't come back, they teach you where to start. We sat across the kitchen light like strangers sharing space. You stirred your coffee slowly, wouldn't look me in the face. I felt the distance settle in between what was and what became. We were still saying goodnight, but it didn't sound the same. I held the word forever like it still meant something true. You were already folding out of everything we knew. And that was the last time I called it us, before the silence won, before your hand stopped reaching, before the damage done. I said we'll be fine tomorrow. choosing me. Your jacket stayed by the hallway door, like maybe you'd return. I memorized your quiet steps and every look you wouldn't turn. We weren't fighting anymore, we just stopped trying to win. Love didn't leave in anger, it just thinned and thinned. I kept speaking in plural while you were thinking alone. I was building a future, you were letting it go. That was the last time I called it out, before the air went cold, before I saw the truth in the things you never told. You didn't slam the door, you didn't raise your voice. That was the last time I called it us, before you made your choice. Some endings don't explode, they gently rearrange. You wake up one day and we just feel strange. That was the last time I called it us, but not the last time I cared. I stayed until the feeling was too quiet to repair. Now I speak in I and me, and it finally feels honest. That was the last time I called it us, and the first time I chose myself. Some words carry history, some words let you heal. And the day I stopped saying we was the day it became real. The room still held your laughter, like a picture on the wall. But lately every promise felt smaller than before. You stopped asking how I was, stopped reaching for my hand, and I kept filling silence with reasons I'd pretend. I thought love meant patience through every changing tide, so I stayed a little longer, even when you stepped aside. I stayed after you stopped trying, after hope began to fade, after every quiet moment showed the distance that you made. I kept holding memorized your absence like a shadow in the room. Every maybe that you whispered turned tomorrow into gloom. You called it growing distant. I called it losing you. But loving someone lonely was all I knew to do. I believed in forever more than what I could see. But forever doesn't happen when it's only carried by me. I stayed after you stopped trying, after effort disappeared, after every empty promise became something I feared. I kept writing us a future. You erased it line by line. I stayed after you stopped trying and told myself we'd be fine. Love shouldn't feel like standing all alone, building a home for someone already gone. I stayed after you stopped trying, but I won't stay anymore. I deserve a love that reaches, not a half-closed door. Now I'm walking through the silence with a stronger kind of grace. I stayed after you stopped trying, but I finally left that place. Sometimes leaving is the bravest thing you do. When you realize love stopped fighting for you. I still remember the way you laughed under streetlights, our shadows cast, moments that felt like forever. Now they're gone, like they never mattered. I kept chasing what could never stay, held on to whispers that faded away. We were almost something real. crowded street, a ghost of us in every heartbeat. I tried to fix what wasn't mine, but some love fades with time. I held on to dreams that slip like sand, reaching for touch I can't command. We were almost something real, a fire that burned too fast to feel. Every word, every stolen glance, a beautiful but fleeting chance. Maybe in another life, another day, we'd have found a way to stay. But here and now, I let you go. Carry almost in my soul. We were almost something real, a fire that burned too fast to feel. Every word, every stolen glance, a beautiful but fleeting chance. We were almost something real. And I'll keep the memory and heal. And I'll keep the memory and heal. We were almost something real. I learned your name in heartbeats, not in words we used to say. Every silence had a rhythm, only I could feel that way. You never left your footsteps on the floor or on the street, but you settled somewhere deeper, where my breath and blood still meet. I don't hear you when I'm calling, I don't see you when I turn, but my body keeps on knowing every place you didn't burn. Your memory sleeps in my pulse, like it never learned to go. Every beat repeats the moment I was loving you alone. I don't cry the way I used to, I don't break, I just exist. Your memory sleeps in my pulse, like a secret I can't dismiss. I fold the days like letters, never sent but never gone. I speak your name in whispers when the night is holding on. You don't haunt my dreams anymore, you don't call me in my sleep. You just stay beneath the surface, where my heart refuses peace. I'm forgiven what you couldn't, some love lives in the body, even when the mind's repaired. Your memory sleeps in my pulse, soft and steady, never loud. It doesn't hurt the way it did then, it just weighs me like a cloud. I moved on in all the right ways, still there's something I can't lose. Your memory sleeps in my pulse, like a truth I didn't choose. Maybe love is not a feeling, maybe it's a mark in time, something written in the nerve ends, something living past goodbye. If I ever stop remembering, if my heart forgets its role, I'll still feel you in the echo of the life inside my soul. Your memory sleeps in my pulse, but it doesn't own me now. I can carry what we were without asking myself how. I won't beg the past to stay here, I won't chase what I outgrew. Your memory sleeps in my pulse, but my future beats brand new. I don't need you to be near me, my heart remembers enough. Room feels wider than it should, like it's missing something good. Every chair knows how you sat, every corner whispers back. I didn't break when you walked out, I stayed too calm, I stayed too proud. But now the quiet hits too deep, like pain learning how to breathe. I thought the hurt would fade with time, but it learned my daily life. Everything hurts where you used to be, every space remembers you and me. Even joy feels incomplete, like it's standing on weak knees. I don't cry, I don't fall apart, I just take in every part. Everything hurts where you used to be, and I don't know who I'm meant to be. Your name doesn't break my chest, it just lingers and never rests. Like a bruise I learned to hide, under moments I survive. I pass the places we once knew, they feel empty dressed as new. I smile like I've healed enough, but healing's not the same as love. I don't miss you like before, the life I felt with you. Everything hurts where you used to be. Even laughter sounds too thin. Every dream lost gravity when you weren't there to lean in. I don't scream, I don't fall apart. I just carry the aftershock. Everything hurts where you used to be. Like my heart forgot how not to need. Maybe pain is love with nowhere to go. Maybe letting go is learning it slow. I don't want you back inside my days. I just want the hurting to change its shape. Everything hurts where you used to be, but it's softer than it was before. I can breathe through the memory. I don't collapse on the floor. I survived what I couldn't see. I outgrew the version of me. Everything hurts where you used to be, but I'm still here, and that's healing. Some wounds don't close, they just stop bleeding. I folded my days around your name, like it was something safe to say. You promised nothing, still I hoped. Built a future out of things you never wrote. I learned your moods are quiet signs. Ignore the warning every time. I thought love meant I'd understand, even when you slipped right through my hands. I kept choosing you in every doubt while you were already halfway out. I love you longer than you stayed. Held on through nights you'd already escaped. You said forever without a sound, then disappeared while I stayed around. You let go before the pain showed through. I loved the parts you never grew into. I loved you longer than you stayed, and I'm still here learning how to fade. Your absence learned my daily life. Sat at the table, slept at night. I stopped expecting your reply. Still flinched when my phone lit up with light. I rewrote endings in my head, where you turned back, where words were said. But reality was cold and clear. You were gone long before you disappeared. I was holding on to what we were. You were practicing how not to hurt. I love again, just not that way. Not longer than someone decides to stay. Stopped asking how my days had been, but somehow still knew when I cave in. The room got loud with things unsaid while you slept peaceful in your head. I spoke in pauses, you looked away, like distance was something you learned to say. I felt smaller every time you answered love with borrowed time. You never raised your voice or left a trace, but absence started wearing your face. Your silence learned my name, said it softly every time you turned away. You knew exactly where I'd break, showed up when you chose escape. You never said goodbye out loud, but quiet taught me what you meant by now. Your silence learned my name and called me lonely all the same. I waited for words you never wrote, still packed my heart where you'd unload. You listened without staying near, heard my fear but disappeared. Love felt one-sided in slow motion. I drowned in almost devotion. You mastered the art of staying calm while I kept bleeding in your arms. I begged for truth you wouldn't say, so quiet, did it in your place. Your silence learned my name, memorized the sound of all my pain. It stood between what we became and everything you couldn't claim. You never promised, never lied, just let me hold while you withdrew inside. Your silence learned my name and left before the blame. Maybe love shouldn't hurt this clean or fade behind invisible seams, but I stayed talking to empty space until quiet answered in your place. Your silence learned my name, but I won't answer it the same. I won't chase echoes down the hall or beg for words you won't recall. You taught me lost without a sound, but I'm the one still standing now. Your Some goodbyes are quiet, but they still leave. Trace the lines where your hand once lay. Every corner whispers of yesterday. The laughter froze before it bloomed. Now empty rooms are all I've assumed. I replay the nights that never came, the words we never said, the unspoken flame. Even the silence held a weight of all the love we couldn't translate. I keep reaching for shadows you left. Every almost tears me to theft. What we almost were still hurts. The echoes of us feel the worst. Moments that slip through our hands, promises we didn't understand. I still feel you in every start, in the quiet breaking of my heart. What we almost were still hurts. Leaves me standing in reverse. I walk past places we could have known. Each step reminds me I'm alone. Your smile lingers in fading light. I chase it through the lonely night. Every plan that never came true, every dream I shared with you. Even the stars seem to pretend that some things just don't ever end. I hold the pieces of our might have been, learning how to let go within. What we almost were still hurts. The echoes of us feel the worst. Moments that slip through our hands, promises we didn't understand. I still feel you in every start, in the quiet breaking of my heart. What we almost were still hurts. It leaves me standing in reverse. Maybe time will dull the ache, but some memories never break. I forgive the love we left unsaid, and cradle every tear I've shed. What we almost were still hurts, but I'm learning life can still assign strength in places you couldn't stay, love in ways that won't decay. Even if the past calls my name, I can rise from the hurt and pain. What we almost were still hurts. But I'll live beyond the verse. I let the shadows rest tonight. Carry the almost out of sight. write your name into every goodbye, like I could fold it small enough to hide. You said you needed space to breathe, but I was still holding what we used to be. The days kept moving, I stayed behind, counting moments you left undefined. You walked away like it was a lie. I stayed to feel every goodbye twice. I let go slower than you did. I stayed where love still lived. You dropped us like a finish line. I reread every side. You learned how to forget me fast. I learned how to make the feeling last. I let go slower than you did, and it broke me bit by bit. Your laughter doesn't haunt the room. It's worse, it's how it vanished too soon. I talk to silence like it knows the shape of you, the way you'd go. I kept the promises you outgrew, like they still belong to me and you. You called it over clean and clear. I called it love, I stayed right here. I let go slower than you did. I stayed where love still lived. You closed the door without a sound. I searched for reasons all around. You moved on like it didn't last. I lived inside the aftermath. I let go slower than you did, and it broke me bit by bit. Maybe I loved deeper, not wrong. Maybe holding on took me too long. But hearts don't heal on even ground. Some fall quiet, some break loud. I let go slower than you did, but I'm still standing this. I carried us when you were gone. I felt the night stretch far too long. You forgot the weight we shared. I learned how heavy love can get. I let go slower than you did, but I survived every step. One day I'll say your name and feel no ache, but tonight I'm still learning how to let go break. Kept my phone on silent loud. Every breath was hoping you'd come around. The clock learned how to lie to me, saying time would heal eventually. I wore your absence like a coat, too heavy for the nights I chose. Every maybe kept me still, every promise never fulfilled. I asked the dark how long to stay. It whispered you're allowed to walk away. It was the night I stopped waiting, stopped believing love needs breaking. I laid your name down on the floor, didn't need it anymore. I watched the stars not care at all, and felt my heart begin to fall free. It was the night I stopped waiting and finally chose me. I found myself in quiet air, no more pretending you were there. Your memory lost its hold when I stopped doing what I was told. I forgave the girl I used to be for begging love to notice me. I let the silence speak its truth, that I was more than passing through. I saw my worth in the dim light when I stopped calling your name that night. It was the night I stopped waiting, stopped translating your hesitation. I closed the door without a sound, left my tears on safer ground. I watched the moon keep moving on, and learned my life was still my own. It was the night I stopped waiting and stepped into my dawn. Maybe love will find me new, not in pieces, not confused. But even if it doesn't stay, I won't beg my heart away. It was the night I stopped waiting, turned the hurt into a statement. I don't need you to choose me now, I know who I am without. I breathed in deep, let go then. I don't chase ghosts, I let them end. It was the night I stopped waiting, and I won again. The night didn't end in goodbye, it ended with me still alive. I was still learning how to breathe, with your name tangled in my sleep. Every promise half unsaid, still hanging in the words we never meant. I built tomorrow in my head, with fragile hope and borrowed plans. You were already closing doors, while I was standing where we began. I thought silence meant hold on, didn't know it meant goodbye. I was counting all our reasons while you were learning how to lie. You left before I was ready, before my heart knew how to fall. I was still choosing you daily, I replay moments like they change, as if time could bend for pain. Your smile felt thinner near the end, but I called it just a phase. I carried us on tired faith, while you traveled light and free. I held on to what we were, you held on to who you'd be. I mistook distance for space to heal, didn't see you drifting far. You were already letting go, I was still naming all our scars. You left before I was ready, before I learned to stand alone. I was still fixing what we broke, you were already moving on. You left me loving the memory, while you erased the sound of my name. I stayed to grieve what we could have been, you left without feeling the same. Maybe I love the future too much, more than the truth in your eyes. Maybe I stayed where I felt safe, while you chose a different life. I won't beg time to bring you back, or blame myself anymore, but it still hurts to know you left before my heart closed the door. You left before I was ready, but I'm learning how to heal. I won't chase ghosts of yesterday, or doubt the pain I feel. You left before I was ready, but I stayed long enough to grow. I love deeper than you ever knew, and now I finally let you go. I wasn't ready when you left, but I'll be ready for myself. Didn't hear the door that day, no dramatic words to say, just a shift in how you breathe, like you'd already left me. Your jacket stayed behind the chair, but your eyes were never there. I smiled like nothing changed, while my chest felt rearranged. I kept asking what went wrong, like answers still belong to me, but my pulse was already shaking, like it knew what I couldn't see. My heart memorized your exit before my mind caught up in time. Every silence, every distance left a pattern I still find. You didn't say that you were leaving, but my heartbeat felt the end. It learned the shape of losing you before goodbye was even said. I talked about us in future tense, like hope could pay the rent. I planned around your absence, called it patience instead. You laughed a little softer then, your touch didn't stay as long. just a moment, but my body knew I was wrong. I trusted words you didn't mean, ignored the weight inside my chest. Funny how my heart remembers what my mind tried to forget. My heart memorized your exit, every step you didn't take. It braced itself for emptiness with every promise you would break. You faded slowly, quietly, like I wouldn't feel the change. But my heart learned how to lose you long before you knew my name. Maybe love is just a warning written deep inside our veins. We feel it before it happens, before the truth explains. I won't blame myself for staying when you already had a plan. I loved with my whole nervous system. You left like only a man can. My heart memorized your exit, but it didn't harden shut. It still believes in something real. Even after us, I won't unlearn the way I loved, or wish I felt less pain. My heart remembers how you left, but it still knows my name. You walked away without a sound, but my heart heard everything. I still remember the way you'd call in quiet moments, no reason at all. You held my heart like something true before the silence started growing through. And I replay the spaces where you slipped, every minute losing one more grip. These are the hours you forgot, the ones where I loved you more than I thought. Every sunrise you let fade, every memory let slip away. You walked out without a second glance, left me standing in the aftermath. These are the hours you forgot, but they're all I've got. Your shadow lingers on empty chairs, your laughter echoes like unanswered prayers. I trace the moments we almost kept, but promises crumble where your silence left. And I'm holding pieces you left behind, trying not to lose what's left of mine. These are the hours you forgot, the ones where I loved you more hold the minutes you left unfinished. Left the porch light on for you, like I always used to do. Your footsteps never reached my door, but hope kept whispering maybe more. I sat with shadows on the stairs, counting promises still in the air. Every quiet hour felt like truth, saying I was waiting more than you. And I held on even when the night turned cold, still believing in stories we never told. Now there are tears on the welcome mat, where your smile used to land when you came back. Every drop of memory we couldn't save, every trace of path you never stayed. You left silence where your heartbeat set. Now the only thing returning is the past, and I'm standing here with tears on the welcome mat, trying to accept that you're not coming back. Your coffee cup is by the sink, still holding echoes of the way you'd think. I kept your sweater on the chair, like you'd walk in and still be there. Love used to bloom in simple things, now it feels like winter in the spring. I sweep the floor but somehow fall into pieces that still miss your call. And I'm learning how to breathe without your name, even though the air will never be the same. Now there are tears on the welcome mat, where your smile used to land when you came back. Every drop of memory we couldn't save, every trace of path you never stayed. You left silence where your heartbeat set. Now the only thing returning is the past, and I'm standing here with tears on the welcome mat, trying to accept that you're not coming back. Maybe love was meant to fade slow, maybe letting go is something we grow. But I still wait for footsteps that won't come, and blame the dawn for rising like it was. Now there are tears on the welcome mat, and I'm learning to live with the ache of that. Every heartbeat still wants to believe, but your goodbye never learned to leave. You left shadows where you left to say. Now I'm holding what's left of what we had, still standing here with tears on the welcome mat, finally whispering that you're not coming back. The porch light dims, but my heart still lets you in. I held your promises like sunlight in my hands, believed every word you whispered in the dark. You painted futures on the walls of my heart, then walked away before they even had a chance. I tried to stand where your shadow used to be, but every step just pulled another piece of me. You taught me how to break, how to fall with no one left to catch the ache, how to breathe when every breath begins to shake. I didn't learn to leave, but you taught me how to break. Your memory lingers like fingerprints on glass, a quiet bruise that never fades with time. I try to stitch the silence back into my life, but every thread keeps pulling me to the past. I hear the echoes of the love you didn't keep, and somewhere in them I lose another piece. You taught me how to break, how to fall with no one left to catch the ache, how to breathe when every breath begins to shake. I didn't learn to leave, but you taught me how to break. Maybe healing starts where all the truth is raw, where I admit you never loved me after all. But even now I feel the fracture when I speak your name, a lesson carved too deep to ever fade. You taught me how to break, but now I'm learning how to turn the pain to grace, how to stand without the pieces you erased. I didn't learn to stay, and I won't let you teach me how to So here I am, gathering the parts you left behind, finding strength inside the cracks you carved in time. I walk the shoreline where our shadows used to lie. The waves still whisper secrets you left behind. Your laughter lingers in the dimming sky, a fading echo I keep replaying in my mind. I trace the footprints we almost made, but time washed them out like we were only a phase. Your voice returns in fragments on the breeze, soft as a memory. I'm scared to breathe. I hold the twilight like it once held you, a fragile place where dreams almost came true. And though the night keeps pulling me apart, I still feel you written in the constellations of my heart. And I keep hoping the universe might rewrite the ending you left in the quiet of that night, where the falling stars remember us, where the heavens keep the love we lost. Every spark a moment we couldn't save, every shimmer a promise we couldn't brave. You slipped away before the dawn broke through, but the sky holds what I couldn't hold of you. There in the dark, the falling stars remember us, even when you don't remember what we were. Maybe some loves burn too bright to stay. Maybe we were a wish the night couldn't keep safe. But when I look up, I still feel your touch in every star that falls too soon, too much. Where the falling stars remember us, and the night repeats the things we never discussed. Every heartbeat feels like a spark we knew, every tear shines with the ache of you. You walked away before our fate could trust, but somewhere above we're still luminous. There in the dark, the falling stars remember us, even if we're nothing more than dust. I lift my eyes and let the sky be where our memories survive. You held me softly when the lights were low, only when the world had no need to know. Your whispers lived where shadows stayed, a hidden truth you never let me name. I learned to breathe in all your half-kept dreams, and hoped one day you'd choose to be seen. But love can't bloom where no one sees it grow, and I was waiting for a heart you couldn't show. You left me only in the quiet, where no one else could hear your truth. You kept me somewhere safe and silent, but silence never felt like proof. I needed more than stolen moments, more than nights you wouldn't own. You loved me only in the quiet and left me loud and being alone. I traced the outlines of your secret fears, the parts you hid behind a not the ones afraid to make a choice. I'm leaving all the whispered shadows and the love you never let unfold. You lost me only in the quiet, but I need more than being half told. So I step into the light where love won't need the night. I watched the doorway after you were gone, thinking maybe you'd remember what we lost. Your jacket still hangs where you left your name, a quiet echo of the love you couldn't claim. I gather pieces of the things we tried, but some hearts break too gently to survive. And I keep searching for the reasons why you let go long before you said goodbye. 'Cause I had a heart too soft for your goodbye, too open for the way you chose to leave my side. You slipped away like someone fading from a dream, leaving me with promises you never meant to keep. I held on even when the truth was hard to find, but I had a heart too soft for your goodbye. The nights are longer than they used to be, filled with shadows of the way you looked at me. I trace your memory like a fragile line, one wrong touch and it all unwinds. You taught me gently how to lose, but never how to stop loving you. And I still stumble where your silence lies, trying to understand the I close the door you left behind and take my softness back this time. Still remember how the sunlight touched your face, a quiet glow that made the world feel safe. But even daylight couldn't keep you near. You slipped away before I felt the fear. Corner of this empty room still carries traces of a love that left too soon. And I keep chasing ghosts you left behind, trying to outrun the shadows in my mind. I'm lost in the in the echo of your last smile. Your laughter lingers in the spaces of my chest, like something beautiful that never learned to rest. I trace the moments where we came undone, the weight of everything we almost could have become. I reach for pieces you no longer claim, but all I find is the ghost of your name. And I keep standing where the truth feels thin, hoping you'd look back one more time again. I'm lost in the echo of your last smile, the one that faded as you walked another mile. You left a silence I close my eyes, but this time I don't stay lost.